We'll be going live in about 2 minutes. Just waiting for everybody to come in. We'll get started in a few minutes. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Cosmic Mike from peachvitamins.com, and I want to take this opportunity also to welcome everyone. We're going to be talking about CBD this morning. I'm just taking your questions, and I'm sure a lot of you have questions. CBD has been in the news, in the market, and a lot of people have been using it. We've been selling our brand for the last 2 years now. And of course, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of naysay here and there. So people are wondering, how to take it, when to take it. As a matter of fact, I did an earlier video that you can go on our channel. When you subscribe, you can take a look where I talk about CBD itself, but also how to take it, when to take it, who should be taking it. And definitely, it's not necessary for you to buy a separate product or a separate bottle for your pet, your kids, or adult. So you don't need to have 3 or 4 bottles in the same household. You could use the same CBD oil. That's where you can adjust the dosages as you need and as you would want. CBD has been there for years. It has been used for centuries. Initially, I guess, the cannabinoid plant started basically in India, as a matter of fact, in the foothills of the Himalayas. And that's where it was used in Ayurveda for balance, for euphoria, to kind of enhance the mind. And this is where it all started and was brought into the West during the slavery days, and when the Indians were brought over as workers into the West. And of course, there it grew into other species where a lot of people tried and tested and breeded different types of crops and stuff. And of course, which is now known as marijuana. But there was also a sister plant that was with the same benefits and the same chemical breakdown, which was the hemp plant, which a lot of you are familiar with. The hemp plant is, of course, used for many other in many other industries as ropes, paper, clothing, a lot of different other things. And it was always used in history also for many other uses. Um, the difference in the CBD coming from the hemp, and of course the difference with CBD coming cannabinoid from the cannabis plant is, of course, it does not have the higher concentration of the THC. And the THC is one of the components in those plants which will have the psychoactive effect. This is what you feel when you're doing or smoking marijuana, or if you've ever smoked ganja, or if you ever tried hash, basically. So the good thing with the hemp plant is, of course, it does not have the higher concentration of THC. It may have a small amount depending how the extraction is done and how much is left in there, but naturally it has the least amount of THC. Now, the THC and the CBD do work together synergistically to help with the body, and which we'll talk a little bit about in a few moments. And but basically, the CBD that's coming from hemp has the lowest, or I would say, really, you could categorize it being none, which is 0.01%. So it's basically marketed as THC free. Now, bear in mind that there is CBD in other components or in other plants and foods that we eat, because generally CBD is made by the body by the fats that we eat, especially a particular fat that we call, or it's known as anaminide fatty acids, which really the name comes from, as a matter of fact, Ayurveda, which means Anand. Anand means bliss. Bliss meaning when you're in a state of bliss or euphoria or your highest self feeling, the body creates, or the nervous system secretes these or makes these cannabinoids which bind to the cells and receptors on the cells to kind of bring the body back into homeostasis or into balance. And that's what we are made of. Our body's always correcting itself as a result of the changes, the environment changes, or our thoughts and different things. The temperature changes. So it's always definitely trying to protect us. And that system is the homeostatic system, and of course, which was found in the 80s, as a matter of fact. It was always there, but it was only found in the 80s. And they discovered that the endocannabinoid system. Now, in Ayurveda, which is, of course, it's a life science from India, this system was, of course, known not as the endocannabinoid, but they knew there was a system which brought these CBD or cannabinoids into the body, or made those into the body by just meditating or by just closing your eyes and putting your thoughts into a focus, and by meditating for hours or on a daily basis. So in those days, it was meditation that brought on this about. And of course, the foods that we eat also created those fatty acids, which had those fatty acids, and which in turn turned into the cannabinoids, which helped the endocannabinoid system to secrete and bind to the receptors in the cells, which in turn would go deep down into the nucleus and turn on the genes, turn on the telomeres, and turn on the genes that were off to stimulate that homeostasis, which as a result in turn will therefore give you balance in your immune system, balance in your digestion, balance in your glands, balance in the heart, in your circulatory system, balance in the brain, balance in the nervous system, which may help a whole lot of ailments that we know today. So CBD in general is not pinpointing at one particular ailment. There are a lot of marketing out there that mentions and has a list of different ailments that it looks at, but It's definitely not pinpointing at one thing, and it's not the magic thing that if you would take this, your cholesterol will go away, or if you take this, your pain will go away. What CBD does, it helps and enhances the body to come into homeostasis, to come into in a balance where every cell starts performing to its utmost, and every cell becomes efficient in what it should be doing, and that's when everything starts functioning properly. And of course, every system is dependent on the other system. So if one system is working, the other one is going to follow through. And this way we have basically perfect health or good health. So CBD is not whatever the marketing is out there, where it helps with pain, it helps with anxiety, and it helps with sleep. Of course, now what happens is once the body starts regulating, the quickest thing you can feel is from one of your senses, which is a sense of touch and emotion. And of course, so taking CBD just for in a few hours, you will be able to see the difference in your emotion. If either you're stressed out, either you're wired up, or either you are depressed or anxious. So you could see that balancing out and clearing your mind, and not necessarily sedating you as such, because remember, this does not have the THC, and THC we'll talk a little bit about later. It responds to the psychoactive a little bit more differently. So the anxiety, the emotional aspect is felt in the beginning, and felt pretty quick. And of course, it depends again on the individual. Every individual is a little bit different. Every individual is unique. We have 7 billion people on this planet, and every one of us is unique in every way, and in certain ways. And so you are going to respond to certain things, to food, to diet, to supplements in a very different way. I'm not the proponent of just following diets or following whatever the studies are done for a handful of people. It's only a way to try and test for yourself and understand. And that's what CBD is, because I may not have an anxiety problem, or I am able to manage my anxiety by myself. But the next thing that happens, of course, during sleep, in a few days, you might feel that it's not that it will knock you out or put you to sleep, but when you're taking it, or the day you took it, your sleep was deeper. It was not necessarily 8 hours, but it was definitely a well-rested REM kind of dream state sleep, where when you wake up, maybe in 4 hours or maybe in 5 hours, you feel rested and you felt totally in control and energetic when you wake up in the morning. So that's the next thing that you might feel. Now, after that, of course, pain, which is a lot of us go through different types of pain. It could be a lot of physical pain, headaches, just pain where we had injuries, or pain where there's arthritis, pain where there is a lot of backaches. Like I just pulled my back recently playing sports, and so I did take some of the CBD oil. Of course, it's not going to get rid of the pain immediately, just like an ibuprofen, or just like turmeric maybe, which is a natural anti-inflammatory and pain reliever. But it's going to start helping manage the brain and the nerves, so you do not feel the pain. So it's not going to go and start, relieving you of inflammation immediately. During time, yes, it will, as you continue taking it, because remember, you're trying to adjust every system. Once that endocannabinoid system has found these receptors and starts balancing the other systems, you may feel that the pain has been subsided, and it is helping regenerate maybe some of that bone or that tissue or that joint. But that's going to happen during time. Now, time could be 6 weeks, it could be months, it could be a year, because maybe your body needs to regulate a lot of other things first before it can reach to the point where it really gets rid of a lot of that inflammation. And maybe it's trying to get rid of inflammation that's very, that's maybe could be in your blood or in just your tissues. before it reaches the main inflammation that's in the joints that's causing arthritis or osteoarthritis and stuff. So that's where CBD starts helping in a lot of different things. But that could be over time, and that could be also being with it and taking it. And of course, remember, taking CBD by itself is not going to cure you of everything. You have to follow through. You have to watch your diet. You have to make sure you're exercising. You have to make sure your mind is clear. You have to make sure you're emotionally balanced. And that's where Ayurveda comes in. And that's where I have studied and I've kind of experienced that in my life, where health is not just about the diet. Health is not just about taking a supplement or medicine. Health is a lot more than that, and it's basically a balance between the mind, the body, and the spirit. So all have to be synergistically working together, all need to be in balance, and technically that would never be consistent because life changes. Life throws different things at you. And so you have to kind of realize that and kind of adjust with that. So you know exactly what to do and where to make that adjustment, either in your mind or in your body, whether it's diet or physical exercise. And we'll talk more about that in my next video, which I'll be talking about, what is health and what is the definition of health and how do you achieve perfect health and how do you stay in that perfect health or homeostasis, which is what the body is trying to do. So, you need to give your body a little bit of credit. It knows exactly what to do for you. It knows exactly what's beneficial for you. So just give it some time. As long as you do the right things, have the right emotions and the right mindset and the right beliefs, it will bring about change and it will bring about good change. Going back to CBD, so this is where CBD comes in, where it starts regulating these systems, the endocannabinoid systems, and thus it starts regulating all the other systems. I really don't have any questions coming up right now, but so I guess I will just talk a little bit more about CBD in the next few minutes, in the next 10 minutes or so. And please, if somebody would come on, please jump in and send me a question. I would love to answer your question. Doesn't matter what type of CBD you're using, whatever oil or edible, or if you've used it, or what type of brand that you're using. So we'd love to get your questions this way. It can help others because question and answers are the best way to help you directly and help others who may have the same question. So getting into CBD that's coming from hemp, and that's why I created with the hemp oil coming from the hemp plant. Now, there is a difference when hemp oil was always sold before, and I'm sure a lot of you must have used, which is coming from the seed, which is the hemp seed oil. Now, the hemp seed oil does not have any properties of the CBD. Where the CBD or the THC, the small amount, is coming from, is really the plant itself with the stalk, the leaves, and the buds. So there is a difference in that. But the labeling that you might see, it's a little confusing out there too. A lot of the milligrams that I mentioned are, of course, 1,000 milligrams, 500 milligrams, 5,000 milligrams. But that's not the CBD that's in one serving or two servings. That's the CBD in the 1 ounce bottle or the 2 ounce bottle that you are looking at. So the serving could range from 3 drops, which may have 5 milligrams, depending on the concentration, or it could be same 5 milligrams that are in 15 drops or 20 drops. Now, the difference in, of course, it's available, you've seen, I'm sure, in the oils, in soft gels, and, of course, in edibles, where it's put into the food. The food aspect is a little bit different, where they are using the CBD isolate, where they're taking the CBD out of the plant itself, and they're using that powder just like any other herb that's taken out from a plant, and using that in the food where it does not change the color or it does not change the properties of that food, and it's palatable. Now, the oil it's totally different, where the oil is the natural extract. The oil is naturally extracted from the plant itself. Because remember when I mentioned the body turns this fatty acid into those components, CBD and THC, which trigger these cell receptors which in turn help the endocannabinoid system balance, and which in turn will manage those systems directly and appropriately. So the oils definitely, I think, would be the right thing and the easiest way to do, because it is the whole plant itself, where the properties are coming directly from the plant, where you're not extracting just the CBD. And in nature, in general, everything is there for a reason. And of course, if there is CBD, there are other components of CBD or other components of the hemp leaf or the hemp flower which are beneficial. Because in the earlier days, they could not extract just the oils. What they did is they used the whole herb or the whole plant itself, and that's where the body recognizes and understands which components of that plant they need for what reason. So sometimes I'm also not a big proponent of just taking the extracts out. Yes, science, because we have reached that technology level where we can extract these things and pinpoint exactly what their mode of their mode is, how do they affect our cells individually. But it's still, I would let the body understand it. I would let the body break it down, your digestion break it down, and being absorbed by your intestines and then into your bloodstream, because it knows those steps. It has been doing this for generations. The DNA is set for that, and that's where we want to make sure this is happening. So I think that's why the full spectrum oil, which is what ours is, and you'll see a lot of them out there, of course. We are not the only ones, but I would rather you use those, because I think those have the all the components, because the plant itself, it just does not have only CBD and THC. It does have a lot of other CBN, CBG, which are going to come out into the market sooner or later, because each one affects different parts of the body. Where the CBN very, very effective in sleep and anxiety, where it's more binding to the receptors in the brain, where the CB1 is. And then, of course, you have the other components of the plant, which are binding to the CB2 receptors, which are more into your immune system, your digestive system, and of course, your different organs. So those are going to come out as CBD gets worn away, and then you have other companies coming out with the other components of their plant. And this way, it's, I think, doing the full spectrum. This way, you're getting the best of all, exactly. And this would be the ideal thing to do. So now coming down to taking it and when to take it and how to take it. Of course, I've done my last video, so please take a look at that. The oils are, of course, so quick that you could just easily put drops in your mouth and get it done with. So now the soft gels, the difference in the soft gels is, of course, there is a huge difference in soft gels. The soft gels have to go into your stomach. It has to break down. Your digestive system has to break it down. So that may take some lag time compared to the oil itself. And of course, the soft gels, your body, when it takes something in the digestive section, it will digest what it needs, and then it'll start depleting or removing from your fiber into your intestines, your colon, of course, through you. So you may not absorb most of that ingredient because that's how naturally the body works. But if you're taking the oil into your mouth or into your tongue, you are making sure it's going into your bloodstream, into your tissues immediately. And of course, the mouth and the tongue is very close to the brain, where the glands and those channels are able to absorb and let it into the brain immediately. And once anything goes into the brain, of course, you'll feel the effect. And just like anything you put in your nose when you sniff, I would say, when you sniff marijuana or you sniff cigarettes or you sniff smell, it gets right into your brain, because there are subtle channels in your nostrils which allow certain things to go into the brain, and it's immediate, and you know it and you sense it immediately. So I wouldn't say put the oil into your nose, but taking it under your tongue, I think that's the ideal and the best way to take it. So I guess we have covered everything. We have covered, what the CBD does and how is it different. And of course, there is CBD in other foods or the fatty acids, anandamide, which of course turns into the CBD. So of course it's always beneficial to eat the flax seeds, the omega-3s from the salmon, the polyphenols that are coming from grapeseed extracts, the rich fruits and vegetables that we have, the different colors. Those stimulate and create these components, the CBD, which enhances and of course stimulates the receptors on the cells to absorb and to perform and to let the endocannabinoid system manage everything. So, do come by to our store, and if you have any questions, of course, you can please give me a call, and I do also have a 15 minutes consultation free for everyone, and that's below our link there. You can see and you can subscribe to our channel, because I'm going to be doing a lot of these live and a lot of these videos on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, I would say. This way I can get the questions, because I answer these questions on a daily basis at our store with hundreds of you, and you know me exactly. So this way I can reach out to more people, your friends, families, members who you want to connect. Just ask them to subscribe, send them the emails so they can go in live. I guess I didn't have any questions. I hope I covered a few different things. So thank you very much for coming out today, and thank you for coming out in the morning. And this is my first live stream, so please excuse me if I made any mistakes or stuff. We're just trying to work the kinks out. So we'll see you on the next video, and thank you for joining us. Bye.